Did you hear that Jamie Lee Curtis compared like the riot scene to Black Lives Matter, even though they filmed it in like 2019?
At what point does Jamie Lee Curtis stop letting Activia pudding fuck her brain up?
It's yogurt.
Is it yogurt?
Well, it's whatever. Yogurt's just shitty pudding.
I say it's fiber pudding.
I just want to say, like, I think her little Karen bowl cut haircut is going straight to her personality.
Yep.
She's turning into a real bitch.
Welcome back to the Jojitorium. Well, I think remember too, whenever we found the German Scheiser corn. Let's not lie to each other. You're in twerk classes over there. That's
yeah. That's all it is.
The fitness class.
Working on them TikTok videos you like so much.
Dead face.
Got right in front of you.
Welcome back to the Jojitorium. You know who it is. It's Adam. It's Matt. We're decaying with the boys, and we swear we suck less than Halloween Kills. They're coming to get you, Barbara. They're coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now. Dawn of the Living Stout and Night of the Living Stout can be yours right now during the spookiest season of them all. Because Full Pint is back and is rolling hotter than before with the classic brews you grew to love and some new exciting beers to satisfy the nerdiest of craft beer enthusiasts. Grab a pint at their Warrendale site where kiddos and puppers are more than welcome. If you want to go grab and go, you can snag a 4-pack from one of your favorite distributors from Canning to Robinson. So check out fullpint.beer for full details and follow them on all social media to get daily updates on tap lists, food trucks, events, and much more. Just make sure you tell them the boys sent you. So we are here, and if you're listening to this today, this is Halloween, the spookiest day of all. I mean, aside from like Election Day, that's pretty scary sometimes. But Adam, we are so lucky to be joined by a wonderful guest, the head brewer of Full Pint, Mr. Jim Simmons, but we lovingly know him as Bobby Nacho. So we got the man from the resurrected Full Pint for our Halloween extravaganza. So guess what, Adam? We're going full throttle.
Full throttle.
We're going full throttle. So this episode is nothing but the fullest of the full. So if we're going fullest of the full, Bobby, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm living the dream, man.
Yeah.
I'm living the dream.
Bobby showed up in full Pint gear, by the way, and I'm loving it.
Straight from work, sorry.
But Jim's out there delivering treats to all the local distributors. He made some guys' dreams come true earlier, gave him a mixed 4-pack. That's who Mr. Simmons is. That's who Mr. Simmons is. If you see this man, he might give you beer.
He might.
Or he might not.
Yeah.
Depends if he has any on him.
And it depends on who you are.
So, honestly, man, I'm going to call you Bobby throughout the whole thing, man, because to me, I met you when you were Bobby Nacho. To me, I didn't know your real name until I knew you for a few months.
There's like 3 people in this world that call me Jim. One is Dan, the owner of Full Pint. The other is my mother. And the other one would probably be my sister.
Yeah.
Everybody else calls me Bobby or Nacho.
So I'm definitely going with Nacho because that's who he is to me. So Nacho, here in the Jojitorium, where we like to brew up some of the most delicious brews in the burg, you have brought some of the most delicious brews in the burg. So we are in round 1, and you brought us some beers. So we're going to put those together. Call it round 1 beer. So what did you bring for us to rip into?
Oh, we got a little Dawn of the Living Stout. It's a white stout, 6%. When you taste it, you should get some coffee, a little bit of, not really coffee, more roast. Some people will say coffee. I call it roast because coffee would be a little more intense, and we tried to keep that back, that roastiness back a little bit. You should get some chocolate, and then you should get some beer. I mean, our beers are about beer. We want you to taste the beer.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to hide anything. We want you to taste that delicious beer that we've made. So this is one of our recipes. It's not a former Full Pint recipe. We just thought it'd be a really good compliment to Night of the Living Stout. And so far, man, I got to say, people really are enjoying it.
I got to say, man, and I want to say this too. Adam, if you could please intro the beer.
Oh, sure thing.
Paid in sound effects, baby. I want to say I really like how you guys updated the labels. That's super eye-catching, and I love that you did Dawn of the Living Stout because I love Night of the Living Dead and Night of the Living Stout. So to see you have like a prequel almost to the stout, fantastic, man. Great idea.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I'm not going to take credit for the idea. And it's funny because a really good friend of mine, and some of your listeners will know him, his name is Justin Goodfellow, said to me as soon as we started talking Full Pint, he's like, "Are you going to make Night of the Living Stout?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, you guys should make a white stout and call it Dawn of the Living Stout. Well, I never got back to it, and we were having one of our meetings, and Dan said, "We're going to make this white stout, and I think we should call it either Day of the Living Stout or Dawn of the Living Stout." And I'm like, well, our good buddy Justin said we should do Dawn of the Living Stout. And Dan's like, well, I was kind of leaning toward Dawn of the Living Stout too. So he did give me the idea, but Dan came up with it on his own, and I just kind of threw it together. And then everybody else in the group was like, let's run with this.
Yeah. And I'm glad you guys did too, because the artwork is awesome. It's super eye-catching, as I said earlier. And you kind of almost don't know what you're going to get because everyone's very fixated on Night of the Living Stout. So like to have this one come out and to be your own creation. And I know you were saying like you want it to be like a smooth, like not a huge punch of coffee. This hits on all of those notes, man. This thing is a wonderful beer that I could take my time on, or as you can already see by my glass, rip through half of it in one sip. I smelled it and I was like, this is my lane, man. I love white stuff. Boom, paid in sound effects. You already caught on, Nacho. I love it, man.
I get an easy week this week, too. I don't have to intro the beers because we have the expert.
Dude,
it's nice.
It's so wonderful, man, especially because in our full-blown episode here, we're going to touch on some more things about Full Pint, and we're going to sip on some more Full Pint beers. So we're going to fully move away from wrestling and get fully into getting to know Bobby Nacho.
Full into Nacho.
Yeah, full into Nacho.
Loaded nachos.
So, buddy, you're here with us, and we thank you again for coming to spend some time with us because we do really appreciate what you do for Full Pint, and we always appreciated what you did before that and all the other establishments you worked at. But we got to know some things about you, man. So first and foremost, before you became the absolute genius over at Full Pint, I got to know, how did you get started in brewing at all?
So there's this guy, and I've already mentioned him a couple times.
Guy's going to come up again.
This guy's everywhere. Justin Goodfellow. I went to a homebrew fest. I bought a ticket. Me and my buddy bought a ticket. We just wanted to go get drunk. And I'm like, let's go see what this homebrew thing is about. And we go in there, and there was probably 20 homebrewers. And we kept going back to this guy's table. And it was Justin Goodfellow. And he had, it had to have been 3 or 4 beers. His beers were way better than everybody else's. I mean, and it's not to put anybody down. I enjoyed all the beers. I didn't think any of them were crap. But his stuff was just really good. And so I kept gravitating back to him. And so we're talking, and he's like, so do you homebrew? And I'm like, no. He's like, well, why not? And I'm like, I'd never thought of it. Why would I? He's like, well, what do you do? Well, I'm a chef. And he looked at me, he's like, duh, brew. It's the same thing. And I'm like, really? And so I'm like, nah, you make it and I'll drink it, you know. And so we finished out the night and you know, we exchanged information. And over the next couple days, I just started thinking about it. And I'm like, maybe I should start homebrewing. I think that could be fun, you know. I need a hobby, you know. So I don't know if it was probably Facebook Messenger, I would think at the time. And I said, tell me what equipment I need to get started. And he sent me a list, and I'm looking through this. I'm like, I'm going to spend like $300 or $400 on equipment. Am I going to brew this much beer? So I sat on another week or two. I'm like, screw this. I want to make my own beer. Well, then I started looking. I'm like, well, I'm not saving any money by making my own beer. Why am I going to make my own beer? All right, we're going to do it. So I kind of made a couple kits, and then he's like, there's another homebrew show coming up in like 2 months, and I expect to see you there. And I'm like, dude, I'm not ready for that. So I made one beer, and it was my first all-grain batch, and I made a jalapeno cream ale. And I took it to this homebrew show down in Verona, and I got a couple votes for it. Most people didn't even want to try it. Jalapeno. Who drinks hot? That's hot. I don't want that. And it wasn't hot at all. So I didn't have any expectations. I didn't plan on going there to win or anything else. But at the end of the night, Justin came over to me and he said, and I bottled everything. I didn't buy kegs or any of that kind of stuff. And he's like, "Do you have a couple bottles left? Can I have a couple to go home?" And I'm like, "Do you really want this beer?" And he's like, "Dude, it's good." Yeah. And I'm like, he's just being nice, you know. Well, then a couple of the other brewers asked for a bottle to take home, and I'm like, what? Okay, so whatever. And then there was another homebrew fest. They had one about every 6 months. So the next time I took 4 beers, and we were setting up for that, and Justin come over and he's trying my beers. He's like, "I'm really intimidated. You're going to kick my ass tonight." And I'm like, there's no way I'm kicking your ass. I got 3 first place awards out of 4 beers, and then I got a blind taste test on the 4th beer. And I kicked his ass.
Yeah.
But I never have beat him since. Okay. So this all belongs to Justin Goodfellow. He's the one that created this monster. He is the one that got me into it, got me hooked, has been such a huge inspiration to me. And he's an awesome guy, and he's a total class act. And he's out at Yellow Bridge if anybody doesn't know that. And I will support him till the end of time. He does beer the way it should be done. And I've tried to take a little of what he does into what I do. I mean, I do some stupid shit. I put, you know, Adam knows we do a lot of the same adjuncts. We put cereal in beer. We put whatever, you know. Andy from Hitchhiker stopped me the other day. He's like, you had the best fucking ho-ho beer I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, it wasn't ho-hos, it was Swiss cake rolls. Same fucking difference. But it was cool that he said it. But that's the kind of stuff that I like to do. I'll do traditional stuff, and we'll do some of that at Full Pint. But I like stupid things, and you know, I kind of, I'm an oddball to begin with, so I do oddball shit.
So with all the oddball shit, and you had a very big success kind of early on in your homebrewing, your second competition. You basically swept the thing.
I have a follow-up to that.
Yeah.
By the way. So first off, I second everything you said about Justin. Other than Justin's a clown. If Justin's listening, you're a clown.
Yeah.
But I respect
he's the best clown.
And I'm waiting.
Clown act.
I'm waiting. Me and my wife are going to go out to Yellow Bridge as soon as he gets a couple beers on tap.
He's got a couple on tap already.
Yeah, we're going to be heading out there soon then. But my follow-up question is, cost you $300 or $400 to get started. You didn't invest any more money in it after that, right? It stays a very cheap hobby.
It does. It stays very cheap after that. I did not invest a lot into that. Well, because I only homebrewed for like 3 years before I got my first brewing gig, and that doesn't really happen. And I totally lucked out. I mean, it was something that I just fell in my lap, and then when I decided that wasn't for me anymore, then Darren from Couch called me up and he's like, "Hey, I heard you're a free agent." And I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that means. It's like, "Come and talk to me. I feel like we could do some work together." But yeah, I mean, it's crazy how it worked. And I every day I wake up and I'm like, I still can't believe that this all happened. And, I look at guys like Andy, and I look at Meg Seastat, and I look at all these guys that are such damn good brewers. And I still, I still put them over me. I think that, they're the head of the class, and I'm just along for the ride, and whatever I can do is cool. But I try to see what everybody else is doing. And I really think that Pittsburgh has some pretty cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
We still got a ways to go to be one of the biggest cities, but I think we're pretty decent.
I would say too, the one thing I do appreciate about you whenever I see what you do is you're not just playing the game, you're a student of the game. So when you say you're watching everybody else and you're learning from them, and that's something I really appreciate about you, because every time I've gotten beer from you before you got on to some of the mainstream breweries, you were all these brew fests, and everyone's like has these game faces on. They're super serious, and you're like, I made a ice cream cone, waffle cone ale. It's 4.7%. Who wants it? And it blew me away. All these people were like, I aged mine for 2 years and this and that. And you're like, I made this 3 weeks ago.
This got Fruit Loops in it. You want to pour it yourself?
So I did one. We did Oakmont had a brewfest. It was probably 3 years ago, and I wasn't even going to go. And I get this email, and they're like, "Oh, we want you to come." And I'm like, "Okay." And I did these 2 beers in like 7 days. And I got pretty good scores on them, but all I did was I brought somebody with me to like, hey, you want to come and pour beer with me? And they're like, yeah. And I left them to pour, and I went around and drank everybody else's beer.
I think that was actually our first Brewfest. Was that Oakmont?
Oh yeah.
And that's where I met Nacho. Nacho at that time his quote unquote jockey box, what he was serving his kegs out of,
Garbage can.
was a garbage can
Yeah.
with wheels on it. And meanwhile, I'm like carrying cases around of bottles, and I'm like, that's a really good idea. I'm going to talk to that guy.
I stole that from Justin Goodfellow too.
Yeah, that was a great
I
idea.
kind of upgraded it a little bit. I put the tea on it that I could pour from
Yeah.
shoulder height rather than bending over and do it from the side. But Justin has been such a huge influence on my beer life and my personal life. I mean, he's a very spiritual person, and I take a lot of what he says to heart. And he's such a good guy. But without him, I wouldn't be sitting here. I mean, I'd still be cooking somewhere, and that wouldn't be a bad thing. But he's the reason that I'm here today.
So speaking of that path, we're talking about a lot of home brewing, and you mentioned Darren from Couch, but what was your first, I guess, quote unquote, pro brewing gig? What were you doing?
So we came back from a homebrew event one night. I don't even remember where we were. We were sitting at Rich Romanko's house, and him and I are sitting there drinking beers after a meeting or something, and he gets a message from somebody that says 412 Brewery lost their brewer and wants to know if anybody would help. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll help. Yeah. I don't know what that means, but I'll help, So we sent a message out to the guy, and he's like, oh, meet me here on this day, and we'll talk about it. So me and Rich, 3 other guys, we called them the guys. They're teachers from Stowe Rocks, really good guys. We went down, and maybe 3 or 4 other people, and I'm like, well, what does help mean? He's like, well, I mean brew. I don't mean help. I mean just do it.
Just do the whole thing.
And I'm like, okay, well, it's a propane fired or a gas fired system with 2.5 barrels on each side. So you have 4 pots, 2 mash tuns, 2 boil kettles. I'm like, it's a home brew. It's on steroids. It's a home brew system, right? So I'm like, I'll whatever, And Rich and I brewed once or twice, and the guys brewed a couple times, and then everybody started falling off, and I was the last man standing. And he said, the guy that owned it, his name was Sam. He says, so you want to be my full-time brewer? I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of scary. Can we make enough beer? Can we sell enough beer? Blah, blah, blah. So he convinced me to do it, and I did it. And I was there a couple years, just about exactly 2 years. And it was cool because I got to do it, and I would bring all my friends in. Adam come in, Mike Swiderski came in, Chris Bocato came in, Shane Walters came in. I mean, I brought people in to brew with me, to give them some experience too. I'm brewing on a bigger system. And then we had trash, the entire trash team came, and we did a big brew with them. Yeah. I mean, we had some fun with it, but the limitations were, I only know what I know.
Yeah.
And I'm not learning anything. I'm trying to read forums and read books, and but in between trying to make this work, it was a hell of an experience. I would never say I regret doing it, because had I not done that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today either. And that was one of the things Justin said to me. He's like, how the hell did you get a brewing job before I did? And then not long after, he got a job at Greenhouse, and then later Fury. But it's just that, and Sam was a really good guy. He was more of a business guy, and he didn't really love beer. He loved money, and I love money too. But when you're in beer, you really need to love beer and the process and the ingredients and do things the right way. And there were things I knew we weren't doing right, but it's how he wanted it done. And so, 412 was a cool experience, and I love what those guys are doing now. And there's a whole bunch of them over there. Those guys are all awesome. From Ryan Slicker, my buddy Adam Zane, who I think is one of the best people in the world. Rocco, all those guys over there, Malcolm, they're all great guys, and they know beer, and they're doing a great job turning it around. And I'm glad to see that because it deserves it.
Yeah.
And they maybe they might change the name or something, but I really appreciate it, what they're doing, and I still kind of feel a connection. I don't have anything to do with it, obviously, but there's a little connection there, and I think it's cool what they're doing. So go out and support 412, by the way.
Yeah. And as far as that tap room, can't get a better location.
Oh, it's a great location.
amazing.
It's a cool spot. Yeah. I wish it was a little bigger, but it's a cool spot.
I was there last night.
I spent a lot of time there. So
I would go down almost religiously. What night of the? I can't even remember what night of the week it was. I was going to say it was Tuesdays or Wednesdays.
Hump day.
I would go down and look. Now I'm still going on Wednesdays because I was there last night. But he would do Ask a Bartender Wednesdays, and he'd be the bartender.
That's
bullshit
cool,
with BS with the brewer.
That's what it was. Bullshit with the brewer.
I like it, man. So before we go into a break, Nacho, I got to ask you, all the times that you worked for other breweries leading up to what you do now, what's one of the biggest things you took away from all those places that you implement now at Full Pint?
Man, I learned a lot of what not to do.
And that's cool too, man. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's cool. But really, my time at Couch, and that Darren, man, I love Darren. I love that guy. It broke my heart to leave. I told him when I went there that we were doing this Full Pint thing, and that I would be leaving, but I would give him everything I had in the meantime. And it turned out to be the best job I've ever had. I loved working with him. Beth and Mel, those ladies are awesome. But I learned from Carrie, and I learned from Mike. Not a lot from Mike. I mean, Mike Piro, nobody probably knows Mike, but Mike's a goofball, and I love him. We hang out and smoke cigars often. Not often enough, but often. But Carrie taught me a lot. Darren has taught me a lot. So it was cool to work with somebody else rather than just trying to learn everything yourself. And, they taught me things. I taught them things. But just the fact that I got to be out and learn something new. I loved working for Couch. And we did some pretty cool things at Couch in the short time I was there. And sold a lot of beer during a pandemic for a little brewery. I mean,
Hell yeah,
it
man.
was cool. It was cool.
Those blackouts were some of the most fun I can remember during the pandemic, running up to the side garage door and grabbing my beer and talking to you guys. That was great.
I mean, not only that, but you brought milkshakes to Couch. You
14
had
different beers for blackout, and
That's
that was
insane.
I think they had 8 the year before. And Darren's like, "What are we going to do?" I'm like, "Dude, go big or go home."
Yeah, man.
So we did 12 different stouts. We did the Four Horsemen, which everybody still says to me, that beer was so good.
Yes.
And I'm just going to throw that. There might be another Four Horsemen beer coming sometime in the relative near future.
Not in a wink.
And I can't wait for
and
it.
it's going to be something really stupid. But yeah, I mean, and then we barrel aged it. So, I mean, we did some really cool things at Couch, and that's something that I learned so much, and not just about making beer, but about selling beer and people too. I mean, it was a big growing experience for me, and it's something that, man, I'll never forget Darren and the ladies there. I mean, it was the best. And I hope you're supporting Couch too, because if you're not, boo.
So I have a couple rapid fire ones since
Let's
it's
do
all
it.
about Nacho right now. Just a couple quick ones. What's your favorite style of beer to drink?
I like clean. I like crisp. So anything that's a lager is going to be high on my list to drink. I do like stupid stuff. So, if I go somewhere and they've got a 14% Cheerios and gummy bear stout, I'm going to drink it. But I do like the clean, crisp beers. I like the Crispy Boys. So that's probably my biggest go-to beer.
Nice. What's your favorite style to brew? Is it different than that, or is that what you like to do too?
You know what? I just love to brew.
Doesn't matter.
I don't care what style it is. I try to put the same heart and soul into everything that I make. On our system right now, IPAs are a bitch. The transfer on an IPA to the fermenter might be 2.5 hours right now. So, maybe that may not be my favorite because of the time, but I think that brewing is just it's the heart and soul of it all. So I'm going to give my all no matter what it is. I don't really have a favorite.
Okay. And we don't see each other as much as we used to, with us both being busier, especially you being super busy. But every time I see you, you seem to have some new ink. Do you have anything planned for your next tattoo?
Actually, I have this one, this eagle that's here. It's not finished. It gets a American flag behind it.
Nice.
And then he's going to do some smoke that brings both of these military tattoos together.
So for the listeners, it's Nacho's given full sleeve on his left arm.
It's off.
Next. Very cool.
Full on.
And then last question, since it's Halloween season, what's your favorite scary movie?
Okay, this is going to be really stupid. Because it's not really a Halloween movie, but it's a scary movie. And
Showgirls.
It's Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I love that fucking movie so much.
Is that not crazy?
I like that
Yeah.
one too.
It's so stupid that it's awesome.
Yeah, I love that movie so
That's a
fucking
good
much,
one.
man.
So before I send it to Matt for the ads, since this is the All About Nacho segment, I just want to stop real quick. And as he was going through this, I would just want to thank you, Bobby, because I just realized at every place you worked at professionally, you brought me on to help at some point.
Absolutely.
And I agree with you. I've never had more fun brewing than all of those brew days or canning nights and what we did at Couch together with Darren.
Oh, man, we had so
shit
much
was
fun with Darren.
A lot of fun. So thank you and you also helped us here in the home brewery.
I've hung out a few times.
Yeah, especially when we were starting off, because you were just a Couch and you just wanted to brew all the time. So you got us started here. So, I mean, thanks for helping us out. Thanks for letting me help you. I've even gotten to go to Full Pint and help with Chinooki, which was awesome. It's one of my favorite beers. So, yeah, I just want to say thank you while you're here.
It's always my pleasure. We've got canning days coming, and we're always looking for help for canning days. Brew days, if you're ever available, I try to only brew during the week, and I try to start early in the day, so that keeps most people out because they've got to work. And I say the weekends are for me, and I last Saturday I had an event Saturday night, and and sometimes the weekends get boggled up and
I
tied
think
up at
I was
work,
helping you on a Saturday morning early too that day.
and you were there Saturday helping me out. Yeah. So it's always something, and I spend I'd say 90% of my life at the brewery or out delivering or whatever it takes right now, and it's cool and it's fun, and there's nothing I would change about it. Well, I mean, they're saying buy more beer. No, it's a good problem to have. That our fermenters are full now, and we're going to turn them over again. So we have 320 barrels of beer in our brew house that's fermenting away, and some of it's canned, some of it's not. But there's a lot of beer there, and we can turn it over pretty quickly, and it's a lot to do. So I'm always asking friends, hey, you got time for this? You got time for that? You got time for this? I'm always begging for help. So,
and you'll be able to hear more about that
on the other
segment
side.
too.
So we're going to throw in some ads because we have some people that support us, and when you support them, you support us, and when you support us, we get to do cool stuff like this, like get the head brewer from Full Pint to come in and talk to us. Yeah. So go check them out, and we're going to see you guys on the other side. Nice ink, Adam.
Yeah, I got your name on my ass.
I was talking about your forearm, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been taking care of it.
Yeah, it looks great, man. What are you using?
I'm using Lucky 13's Tattoo Cleanser and Healing Ointment. This ointment is incredibly fresh and invigorating. It effectively removes all surface oils and dirt while not dehydrating your new tattoo.
Dude, I actually got some of Lucky 13's Tattoo Balm. It's all natural, not oily, and applies easily. The balm improved my color and definition, and the vibrance on this ink makes it look like it's brand new.
Oh yeah, man. I found their products after taking their online quiz, and it pointed me in the right direction.
Hey, guess what? And right now, if you use our promo code MATA193529, you can save 25% on your entire order from their site.
From the first line of your tattoo to the first year of your tattoo and beyond, Lucky 13 has you covered to keep that ink looking fresh.
Welcome back. Hopefully you heard something that you like, because again, when you support them, you support us. And when you support us, we get to do really cool stuff, like bringing in Bobby Nacho from Full Pint. We can't do that without you guys checking us out, rating us, subscribing, everything you want to do. So, Adam, I threw it out to the Twitterverse.
Apparently it allows us to dress up in our Halloween costumes early, too.
What do you mean?
You look like some hobo substitute teacher.
Wearing a bitch bun.
Wait a minute. So
for our listeners, he's wearing, I'm going to guess, too tight pants.
Yeah.
I can't see him. He's sitting down.
Oh, they're tight.
A polo shirt and then a Mr. Rogers meets heroin addict under the bridge sweater with elbow patches on it.
I mean,
Won't you be my
You
neighbor?
sleeping under the Fort Pitt Bridge tonight?
hot metal, but don't ask questions you don't want answers to. That's really cool coming from a guy who's wearing a fucking hat that could be best left for Toxic Wasteland. Look at that fucking thing. It's Tejon Street Corner and his whiskey. Like, this is what I'm addicted to. And you flip the bill up. This is whiskey.
I'm trying to do that now. Oh, here we go. How's that?
All right, school of schlock. Shut the fuck up.
I'm turning mine backwards.
So, assholes, I threw it out to the Twitterverse for a showdown. And I asked everybody out there, because it's a hot topic right now, what are your grades on Halloween kills? And it's polarizing. So, our fans came out and they said 20% of them gave it an A. Meh. 20% gave it a B. Okay. 60% of you guys gave it Busta Rhymes Kung Fu.
There you go.
Yeah.
60% of our listeners, I love you.
Yes, and then one vote coming from our friends over at Halloween is Forever gave it an incomplete, saying that it's a bridging movie between the first and the third, and they want to see the third one come out before they make a judgment on the second one.
They got that associate's degree in teaching with you, huh?
So anyway,
What kind of grade is that?
40% of the people were stoned
Yeah.
yeah,
Or drunk.
or drunk.
And I was
Or
drunk and
just,
still didn't like it.
or just stupid.
yeah, I can tell you right now, I wasn't a huge fan of Halloween Kills. There were so many things about it that I didn't quite like, and I think Steve and I were talking about it a little bit.
You know, it's been 40 years.
How many years?
40 years.
When did Jamie Lee Curtis say
Evil dies tonight.
build a wall around Michael Myers? That's what it felt like to me.
Not my Michael Myers. My Michael Myers won the election.
So,
Let's go, Michael Myers.
Yeah, I mean,
I swear to God,
Mob Justice incarnate. For
I swear to
Halloween.
God, I'll storm the mayor's house on January 6th if you keep bringing him back to Haddonfield on Halloween.
Like, not only was there the lazy voiceover where Jamie Lee Curtis just explains the whole movie away in a minute by saying he gains magical powers by killing people.
Like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. Evil dies tonight. So not only was there that, but the whole timeline was supposed to be within one night, correct?
Yeah.
So it's the longest night ever.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the two movies just in real time, that's a 5-hour night already. Like,
Right.
the sun's going to be coming up soon.
I mean, it's kind of nice. You remember the first time you ever
He's
saw
still pulling Jackie Chan moves over in the corner on Michael C. Hall over there.
You remember the first time you fell in love? You're like, I wish this night would never end. Well, if you were in the Halloween Kills universe, it would never fucking end. It was a 19-hour night.
Yeah, the kids are all in their candy comas at home,
Yeah.
and he's beating up on Breakfast Club in the middle of the street.
So we are in round 2, and we have the head brewer of Full Pint with us, Mr. Bobby Nacho, also known to some limited people as Jim Simmons. And you brought us some beers. So it's round 2. You brought some beers, put them together, caught round 2 beers. So what do you got?
I got a little Night of the Living Stout. The Reclamation Project.
Love it. So what's going on with this one, man? Because this is a recipe you brought back from the halls of Full Pint when you guys came back in. So
Yeah, this is a Full Pint recipe. And you know, I got to throw a big kudos out there to Barrett. Barrett was the man at Full Pint, the brewer, the owner. The guy's been awesome. Anytime I have a question, I text him, call him, he answers me, he gives me whatever I need and more. Phenomenal guy. Yeah, 7%. It's 109 IBUs. There's a boatload of Cascade in this thing. And I'm really happy the way it came out. They called it a Western Pennsylvania stout. It's more of a West Coast style stout, but we're living with the Western Pennsylvania stout. I like that, and I really think it's a phenomenal beer. And I'll go back to Justin Goodfellow, who tells me every day that was his favorite beer. You got to make that. It's my favorite beer. You got to make that. He came and helped us can it, and he's drinking a beer, canning, drinking a beer, drinking a beer. He's like, I'm really happy over here. I'm really happy. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy. We stuck 99.9% to the recipe. I did change a little bit at the end. I wanted.
You changed something? No way.
I wanted a little more roastiness. Dan and I talked about it, and we did a test brew batch. We did 20 gallons of it, and it was missing something. It was just a little bit on the thin side. It would just. So we kind of just a little teeny tiny tweak, and I think you'll find a little more roastiness in it now. But we're really happy with it, and the early reviews are people love it. So we'll take that one on the back as well. I mean, it's a great beer.
All I can say, man, is it's alive.
I am kicking myself right now.
Yeah.
I just realized I have the old Full Pints version of this sitting down in Canonsburg right now.
Oh, you
should
do?
have brought it.
Oh my goodness.
So
I think it was an 18.
I had a bottle of 2018.
Yeah.
And actually, I had a couple bottles, and I gave one to Justin. And when he came up to canning that night, he brought his bottle, and we cracked it. Obviously, a bottle from 2018 is going to lose some of the hops, and it's going to get some booziness. It was so good. So this beer, being a high hop beer, really ages well because it was so good.
Yeah, and that's rare for a high hop beer.
And it is. I mean, but as a, it's not really a stout. It's a stout, but it's not really. It's more of a black IPA, a Cascadian, whatever it is. I mean, it's not truly a stout, but it's good and it ages so well. We drank that 2018 beer and we were like, wow. So, we're going to stash some cans and hope that we can keep them for a couple years and see how it ages. And maybe next year we'll do some barrel aging with some of it, or maybe we'll do some dry or some wet hop with it. I mean, I like to start playing around with it, but we've got so much going on right now. We're just kind of pumping out beers, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. We're talking about all this new equipment we've got, and we're getting ready to get it online and start doing some different things. So
we get into that.
Yeah.
But I will say, going back to the Night of the Living Stout.
Yes.
Had one last week. Ice cold.
Yes.
This one, Nacho brought in a cooler. We had it on ice for a little bit. It's a little bit warmer. It's like right where I think it needs to be, though.
Yeah.
Because the hops are so much more present with it just a little warmer.
Yep.
It's phenomenal. You get all the floralness out of that
48
hop.
to 50 degrees, maybe even a little bit above 50, and you're going to start picking up a lot of that stuff. And it's really it's a really good beer, and I'm really happy with it.
We get paid in sound effects, and we're getting a lot of money today. So
That's good because your substitute teacher salary sucks.
let's talk
Just
about
like your fucking sweater.
let's talk about Full Pint. Jeez,
Okay, Patches, let's go.
I didn't even wear a Halloween costume. You're a dick.
All right, Patches.
Oh, I thought that's what the patches were, the Halloween costume.
No, this is what I wear to work.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Do
Hi, neighbor.
do the kids at work beat you up?
Yeah.
That's why he carries a gun. What'd you say? Say it again.
He's going full Arn Anderson. Everyone watch out.
I pity the fool. Say it again.
So, Nacho, I really want to get into you at Full Pint now. I mean, we kind of heard about your background and how you got to get some of the knowledge under your belt, and how you it sounds like you quickly caught on to some of the little nuances that made your beers a hit. So you took all the knowledge you had from your homebrew, the 412 couch, the times you featured over here with us over at Bash Brew, and doing all the things you've done. So now you've taken that, I want to call it a very complex brain, the way you think about beer. And
That's probably the nicest thing anybody's ever said about my brain.
I will take that to the bank. You took that and you put it in a union with the owner of Full Pint, and you guys have a wonderful professional marriage now. But I want to know, how did the unholy union between you and Dan occur?
Oh, man, this is crazy. So there's a guy named Fred Molnar. He's now the Gordon Strong of homebrewing. He's like a super duper extra genius rater of beers. I don't know what his real title is. I'm so proud of him. I mean, the guy is like amazing. You give him a beer and he can tell you everything about it.
Yeah, he's like one of the top 4 judges in the country.
Yeah,
or the world.
I mean, it's amazing.
I don't want to put him too much, but at least the country.
No,
yeah,
the guy is he's like a grandmaster beer judge. I mean, it might be a grandmaster. I don't know, but he knows his beer. Maybe not the best brewer in the world. Sorry, Fred.
Those who can't do judge, Fred.
But he judges, and
Or
he judges
clearly because I'm over here with this fucking sweater on, dicks.
So we went to Cooper's Lake, oh man, 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember. And it was about 9 o'clock on Friday night. Friday night is Brewers Night, where the brewers just, you put out your beer and you go around and you drink everybody's beer. You're supposed to vote. There's like 12 people that vote. Everybody else is just in to try everybody's beer. And I know there had to have been 100 brewers there. And so you're talking 300 to 400 beers. There's no way to taste them all. I'm greedy. I like to go to Beer Fest and drink every beer, but you can't do it.
That's multiple days.
It's days.
Yeah.
So we're having Friday night. We're having Brewers Night. And, I hit everybody I know. And I avoided the people I didn't know because I only had the time, to hit people I knew. And it was like 9 o'clock. No, it was 9 o'clock at night. I was sitting on my ass in my reclining camp chair in front of the fire, and I was trashed. And Fred comes over and he says, Nacho, there's a guy over here that made a malt liquor. And I said, bullshit. Homebrewers don't make malt liquors. It's too much of a pain in the ass. He's like, I swear to God, you got to come with me. And I'm like, Fred, I'm trashed. I'm done. I'm going to sit in front of this fire. I'm going to smoke a cigar. And I'm taking my ass to bed. He's like, you have to come with me. This is the best beer you've ever drank in your life.
This is like Charlie Day at the Philadelphia Eagles game. I'm going to sit here, get blackout drunk.
Yeah. We're going to go home.
And I'm like, Fred, where is this place? He's like, wow, he's over here. And he's pointing. And I'm like, that's too far. I'm trashed. He's like, you got to come. Let's go. So I get up and I start walking. And I said to Fred, if I get there, and there's no malt liquor, have you ever heard of Jimmy Hoffa? Because they're never going to find your fucking body. I swear to God, there's malt liquor. So we go over there, and we walk all the way to the end of the campground. And there's a motorhome there, and all the lights are out. I'm like, they went to bed.
That's sketchy as shit, by the way.
Yeah, they went to bed. They don't want us fucking with them. And as we're getting ready to turn around, somebody says, can I help you? And I'm like, I looked at Fred, and I said, Numbnuts here says you have malt liquor. He's like, yeah, you want to try some?
It's like, fuck yeah, I want to try to walk all this way.
Yeah, I want to try some. Again, 9 o'clock at night. So we sit down. Guy was very nice, and his name is Dan Franklin. Guy was very nice. I had a couple buddies with him. They were in the camper. They were ready to crash out for the night, like I was. So we sit down, and he pours us some of this malt liquor. I was like, wow. You know what this tastes like? Nothing. And it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
It tastes like nothing, and it's so good. So we sit there, and we continue to BS and drink. And Dan says, at some point I'd like to open a brewery. And I'm like, whoa, really? That's pretty cool. And Fred's like, Nacho's a brewer. He works for 412. And this is a time when I was just helping, right? Just one of 5 or 6 people brewing there. And he's like, really? I'm like, again, it's not a big deal. I'm not really a brewer. I do brew a little bit of beer, but I'm not going to say I'm a brewer, And he's like, well, let's exchange information and maybe somewhere down the road, And I'm like, cool, Really not thinking it's going to go anywhere. We drank malt liquor, and I'll tell you, this malt liquor is like 9.5 to 10%. We drank it from about 5 minutes after 9 till 3 a.m.
Oh, my goodness.
The 3 of us finished off like a 5-gallon keg. I was already stupid. Again, before I even drank, I was stupid. But I was already stupid drunk. We went there, and we got so trashed. And we talked to this guy, and he was so nice. Well, what a nice guy. So he's like, I got to go to bed. I'm like, Fred, we got to go. So Fred and I were walking back to the tent site, and he was on one side of the street, and I was on the other. And we were lit. I mean, thank God we didn't have to drive anywhere because neither one of us could have driven. We're walking down this cart path, shoulder to shoulder, holding each other up, right?
Like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, right? And we're walking along, just holding each other up. We were trashed, and Fred falls down. And he's like 500 feet from his tent. He's like, fuck it. I'm going to sleep right here in the street. And I'm like, you can't sleep there, you dumbass. Go to your tent. Your tent's right there. You can crawl there. All right. So he starts crawling to his tent. I'm walking to mine, and I get to my tent. Now, this is where I'm going to give you the pro tip. If you ever go tent camping,
Yeah.
when you leave your tent, zip it from the bottom to the top.
Okay.
Because if you zip from the top to the bottom and you're drunk, you bend over to unzip it,
Fall over.
you're falling over.
Yeah.
I unzipped it. I fell over. I crawled in. I zipped it closed, and I crashed right there on the floor. I had a really nice air mattress that I begged my friend to bring to me because my air mattress had a hole in it, and I didn't even use it. But I passed out right there on the floor. The next morning, I hear all this commotion. I'm like, what's going on? Sun's out. I'm squinting. I'm barely alive. I crawl out of the tent, and I look over, and there's about 20 people around Fred's tent. He was over with Bash, Butler area homebrewers. They're such cool people. There's like 20 people around Fred's tent, and they're cracking up. And I'm like, what the fuck is Fred doing now? Because if you don't know Fred, he's one of the funniest people I know. When I first met him, I said he acted like Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
His mannerisms, his humor, he's hysterical. I love Fred. I walk over to see what's going on, and all you can see is Fred's feet sticking out underneath the tent. He could not unzip his tent, so he crawled underneath it. And Fred to this day is like, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Everybody from Bash that saw that happen should reply to this podcast and say, oh, we saw it, because there was at least 20 people there. So we pulled Fred out from underneath the tent. Thankfully, he did not suffocate and die underneath that tent. But that's how Dan and I met through this whole thing with Fred. And I've recently named one of our fermenters Fred.
Yeah.
After him, because without Fred, Dan and I would have never met.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, Dan and I became friends. He did some home brewing, and I would come over and brew with him. We brewed this malt liquor right around Christmas time. Super Bowl time is when we brewed it, right around Super Bowl time. And then it was ready in the spring because it takes like 3 months to brew and ferment. But it's really cool. And without Fred, we'd have never met. And it was just it was a great time. Cooper's Lake their brew fest was Brewers Fest is what it was called. It was the best event ever, and it's gone now. But it was something that I think everybody that ever experienced it will say, wow, what a great time.
I got to do it 1 year, and I'm so pissed that I only got to do it 1 year. And it was the last year. And it was especially the Friday night, which is the Brewers night. Yeah. It was like one of the best times I've ever had. Yeah. It was phenomenal.
And you learn so much. I mean, you get drunk, but you're learning. You're seeing what everybody's doing. I mean, there's a guy that did a Swedish fish in his beer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it was great.
Yeah.
So, not only that, but first year, me and Lori go, we just have a little, 3-person tent maybe, and our little table and our jockey box. Dude on our left has a big camper and, a draft system, coming out the side of it. Then on the other side, he has, a mega camper, like a Rock Band would torn that expands out, and had a damn movie screen and, 14 taps. And then, right between these two behemoths. It's just our little table. So everybody that wanted to try our beer, I had to be like, oh, the two biggest campers on the site were in the middle.
Yeah.
Wait, and
Easy to find.
And the guy that won the Brewfest was the janitor. He was the janitor at Church Brewworks.
No.
His beers,
the year that you and Dan met.
yeah. His beers were awesome. He had this 14 tap setup. He had a
He was right across from me the year I went.
What was that? I forget what you call it. You put the hops in it, and as you're pouring your beer, it runs through the hops.
Oh, Nelson? No.
Yeah,
Shoot.
Anyway,
we're gonna get yelled at.
Anyway, the name escapes me, but he had some really good beers, and and I'm like, the janitor, the guy that cleans up everything, the guy was cool. I mean, it was so much fun.
So then,
amazing.
So then you and Dan clearly have. Dan seems like he's really creative as well, and you're very creative. So you guys come together and you decide to resurrect one of the most iconic Pittsburgh breweries. It's a staple of Pittsburgh history in Full Pint. So clearly you guys are going to bring ideas to the table. So what's the creative process look like for the two of you?
Well, so Dan's wife, Carrie, who is, I love that woman. She's awesome. She's part of the process. We have other friends that are in with us that help us with this, but we sit down and we talk of things. We have meetings every week. We discuss everything that's going on. We're actually just started building out our tap room in Warrendale this week. So there's a lot of constructions going on, but we sit down and we discuss things. Everything we do has a meticulous thought pattern to it. We don't just say, here's what we're going to do. We throw it out there. We think about it. We discuss it. We talk about it. And we've tried every single recipe that we have made. Steinmeister, Dan's been making that for almost 20 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he's changed the recipe over the years and he's refined it. And I've been to a couple Oktoberfests at his house, and every year he makes it. It just keeps getting better and better and better. And this rendition, it's good now, but if you have it in 6 or 8 months, it's even going to be better.
Yeah.
So all of our recipes, they're tried and true. We don't just say we're just going to throw this against the wall and see if it'll stick. We're not afraid to say we made a mistake and move on from it, but we want to put out a very, very good product. I think we have high standards. I think that everything we do is well thought out and well managed. It's a labor of love, and everything we do was with the consumer in mind. You know, it doesn't matter what my favorite beer is, because it might not sell.
Right.
It's all about the people, and the people said, we want White Lightning, we want Chinook, we want Night of Living Stout, we want Festivus. And I'm working on Festivus now. It's still fermenting. I've got a small batch going, and I'm going to do a couple of different versions of it and see what sticks. But those are things that we're going to do. But we're going to do a lot of original beers as well. I mean, we're not going to carry the entire Full Pint line. There's 270 beers in the Full Pint line.
Oh, wow.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, every day somebody says, "Oh, Ale Satan is awesome."
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I think I enjoyed it. It's something that it's right up my alley. I don't know if it's coming back. All in Amber is another favorite. It's an amber. Not to say we can't do it, but it's probably not going to be the biggest selling beer. But we want to keep enough of the Full Pint legacy alive.
Right.
But we want to do new things, and we want to show that, you know, obviously you buy a brewery, you want to show off your skills. You want to show
Absolutely.
off your stuff. And that's why we released Clearly Cloudy with White Lightning and with Chinook.
Which, let me tell you right now, that beer is a knockout.
Yeah, Clearly Cloudy.
Yeah, we don't have it here today with us to feature, but I can just tell you that having a can of it myself, it's a knockout, man. Just knowing that you guys are taking the process to bring back the classics, but also take a step forward to rebrand and find some things that you guys like to do.
Yeah.
So, and you talked about a few changes that you made and some things that you tweaked and altered. Are there any like other changes, like big changes or small changes that are coming up that you can talk about?
Well, the biggest change is equipment. I mean, we've automated the brewery. Everything. I mean, I can pretty much open my phone and brew from here.
Okay.
We've just added a brand new mash tun, a 15-barrel mash tun. It's got a mash mixer. It's got a a grist box on top, so we can mill into that. That means I can 100% brew by myself. Okay,
Dude, that's like the aim too, right, man?
I was just gonna say, I'll come help you now. It sounds really fun.
So right now, it requires somebody to run the grain mill and feed it, and me to stand there and stir it. If
That's
I
what
can,
I got to do.
if I can run the grains now and put it in there for tomorrow morning, I just got to go and hit a button, and it's going to drop the grains. It's going to stir it up, and then we have this huge diaphragm pump that's going to take that mash when it's done, and it's going to pump it into the mash filter. And this is pretty cool to say that we are the only craft brewery in the state of Pennsylvania. And I may be one or two off in this, but we are like one of 16 craft breweries in the United States to own one. It's a very expensive piece of brewery equipment, but it's going to help us make things that most people are going to struggle with. If you're doing rye, if you're doing rice, if you're doing anything really sticky, this is going to allow you to get through that without any issues. So this is going to let us make our malt liquor.
Okay.
This is going to let us make anything we want. But really, if you're doing a beer that's 1050 and you run it through the filter press, it's going to squeeze everything out. 6,000 psi's.
It's like almost like a hydraulic press.
It's hydraulic as hell.
It looks like the Frankenstein of brewing.
It's 18
It's the
feet
coolest
long.
thing.
It's 6 feet high. It's huge. It's 10,000 pounds. This thing will squeeze almost every drop of liquid out of your mash and shoot it to your boil kettle. And if you're doing a 1050 beer, you've probably got 1062, 1063, 1060. So you're going to get
like
more
max
beer for your
output,
money,
max
or you're going to get higher ABV for your money.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to start with more beer for our money.
Right.
It's an expensive piece of
you get to
equipment,
that
and we've got to pay for that equipment, right? We've added a canning line from ABE, which is phenomenal. We can do a case a minute, little over a case a minute.
I can tell you right now too, as a guy who like helps bottle here, hearing a case a minute blows my mind.
It is.
We can do a case every 45 minutes.
Yeah, give us an hour heads up, and we'll get you a case.
Right? Right? I mean, it's a big change. So we've added a lot of technology. Dan and Carrie have really gone out on a limb to make sure that our brewery is very much up to date. It's very much ahead of a lot of the breweries. I mean, being a production brewery, we have to crank out a lot of beer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a new beer every week. I mean, we're brewing 30, 60 barrels of beer. So I'm not going to have a new beer every week. And maybe at some point we'll get there. But we're brewing a lot of beer, and we want everybody to have that. We're in 60-some. It's probably close to 70 different beer distributors now. We just started getting into bars and restaurants. We got our tap handles. So we're getting into bars and restaurants. We want White Lightning in front of every single person. No matter where you go, you're going to see White Lightning. White
Hell
Lightning,
yeah,
White
man.
Lightning, White Lightning. That's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what
Absolutely.
we want. We've got some deals in the works that you're going to see it in places that are really cool. And I'm not going to throw any names out there, but literally everywhere you go, you should see White Lightning. And we want a lot of our beers to be like that. But White Lightning is
White Lightning AEW confirmed. Boom.
it's everybody tells me it's as good as it ever was. And we took their recipe from I think it was 2014 or 2015 when they sold the most White Lightning.
Yes.
And that's where we went with it.
And I remember that was the best.
And
White Lightning
everybody
was
is
it
this
smacked,
is
man.
right
It's really
back
good.
to where it should be.
Yeah.
And it's a nice beer. I mean, I was never the biggest fan, but I find myself consuming a bit of White Lightning. It's very drinkable. It's easy to drink. It's not heavy. But we've got a lot in the technology department, and we like to think that we're going to use that to rule the world.
So speaking of getting your beer out there, if you can talk about it, any updates on the Outpost and the full pint tap room?
I think with the Outpost, they just started today cutting the floor out. We're going to get new drains put in. We're going to move some tanks over there, so we're going to have some serving tanks over there. You can serve the beers with the right temperature, the right carbonation levels, all that good stuff. They're putting drains in, so we just started the process. So we're hoping the end of the year, December, January, to be open. I think we've kind of put a halt on all of our Saturday activities. No more food trucks right now. Nobody wants to sit out in this weather. It's going to be rainy this weekend. It's going to be cold this weekend. But we're going to kind of put that on hold and really focus on getting this tap room built out. It's been a challenge getting quotes and getting people to say they want to do the work and getting them to do the work. So now we've finally got some momentum, and we're hoping that January is the latest, maybe December. But it's a challenge. I mean, everything is held up just like
everything is a supply chain.
Walk into Giant Eagle and there's nothing in Giant Eagle anymore.
Right.
But we're working diligently to get that tap room over. Right now, the outpost is open. You can come and buy beer to go. Unfortunately, you can't hang out and drink it, but get it and take it home. And
very nice little storefront to walk into. Though.
And
that little room already is looking good. So I can't wait to see
changes every day.
what the rest of it's going to look like.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and Matt will be up there as soon as it opens.
Oh, for sure,
grabbing
man.
some beers.
And before we go into a really fun segment here, it's not often that I get to sit in front of two guys that I really look up to in terms of brewing. I'm proud of both of you guys.
One of us is making 60 barrels at a time now, and one of us is doing a third of a barrel at a time.
But I think
I'm only making 15 barrels at a time. It takes me 4 brew days to fill that 60 barrel fermenter.
But I think whenever I hear about when Nacho talks about how he started, when he talks about that, I always see how you started too and what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, just as much as Justin got him into it, Justin, Bobby, the guys up at Union Brothers, all of those guys got me into it.
Right.
You know, like I was already into it, but like I started doing the festivals and they got me to the point where I am now.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, never forget the homebrewers. I mean, you always remember where you came from.
Yeah.
You know, everybody says to me, "You're a pro brewer. Why do you hang out with homebrewers?" They're my friends. They're the ones that helped me. They're the ones that taught me. Yeah. This is where you learn your craft. I mean, that's where you become the brewer that you are with your homebrewers.
Not only that, but more and more pro brewers in Pittsburgh aren't being classically trained or anything like that. They're just really good homebrewers.
They're growing up from the homebrewer society, and Ryan Slicker was a homebrewer. He's a hell of a brewer. Yeah. Andy is he's like my hero. You know,
absolutely.
I hope you didn't hear that, Andy.
I'm gonna isolate that and make sure he hears it.
Just on repeat.
He isolated, repeat, tagged him, called him. All these guys are home. They all came from the homebrew society, and it's a club, but it's a family. You know, I mean, Rich Romanko hates a lot of the things I do, and I've learned so much from him, and it kills him that one of his really good friends, and I just have to throw this out there. Rich hates beers with adjuncts in it. He likes classical beers, and he makes them really well. Rich makes some of the best beers out there. That jalapeno cream ale, he says, is an abomination. But one of his very good friends said, "Rich, can you get me that jalapeno cream ale?" And he called me. He's like, "Bobby,
it's not for me.
Can I get some of that jalapeno?" I'm like, "What? Can I get some of the jalapeno?" Can you what? Can I get some of the jalapeno? What do you want? I can't hear you. I need a growler of your jalapeno cream ale for my friend. I'm like, well, that's all you had to do was ask.
It's like Ric Flair asking Adam Cole for his super kick points.
But yeah, the guys from the homebrew community are really the reason that we're doing what we're doing, how we got here. And you go to a homebrew show, and it's phenomenal. It's one of the best times you'll ever have.
And I can't say that Pittsburgh's the only place where you can find that, but Pittsburgh's the best place I've found for it. Pittsburgh's got the best homebrew family I've ever seen.
I can agree with that.
And I mean, maybe that's why we're getting HomebrewCon this year. I don't know.
Maybe it is.
It's a strong possibility.
Yeah.
So we had a love fest here, and I can say that I do love Mr. Nacho here, and of course all the help he's provided to us here in the Brew Lab. Can't thank you enough for that, and thank you again for coming on the show to talk to us. But now I have to pitch you against Adam because we're going on to the full-on Halloween showdown. Before I get to that, Mr. Nacho, you brought another beer that I have been lovingly sipping on, and it's a beer we featured back on episode, I want to say 33.
33.
This is our award winner.
An award-winning beer here in the Jojitorium. It's the Steinmeister Lager. So, Mr. Nacho, can you tell us a little bit about the Steinmeister?
Well, first I'll tell you, it's Dan's recipe. He's perfected.
That answers my question. I was wondering if this was a full pint resurrection.
He perfected it over 20 years. Dan has been brewing a very long time, and that's part of what makes Full Pint what it is. That he has a lot of experience brewing beer. It may not be professionally, but he homebrewed it, and it's phenomenal. I can't say enough about this Steinmeister, and I had nothing to do with it other than I brewed it. I followed his instructions.
Thank God you did, man, because let me tell you right now, this is my favorite Oktoberfest, my favorite Marzen. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because I think no disrespect to other breweries who put out Oktoberfest and Marzens this year, but this saved Marzen beers for me this year. I have only drank these Marzens by the fire. It won in the Jojitorium, and then it won at Casa de la Anderson on multiple nights.
That's awesome.
So thank you very much for that.
That's our pleasure. And we want this to be a year-round beer. We don't want it to be Oktoberfest.
That.
We want it to be,
nice.
And that's why we called it a Marzen, because we want to have it all the time.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and it does play kind of like I guess like a German stout amber almost.
Yeah.
It's got just the right amount of malt that, you could drink this in the summer.
I love it.
I could drink this when it's 90 degrees, and I could drink this when it's 10 degrees.
There's just enough sweetness that it's great for a summer day, but it's not so sweet that you can't drink it in the winter.
And that's what I was going to say.
That's what's really nice about it. It's very well balanced.
That Pittsburgh summer at the end, when you go through all 4 seasons.
Like this week?
Yeah. I had Steinmeister throughout all 4 seasons, and I never felt like I was out of place.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it's a good beer, and it's something that we're very proud of. I go on Untapped, and I read some of the reviews, and some of them I chuckle at, and some of them like, thank you so much. Somebody said to me, it's too sweet. And I'm like, it's too sweet?
How they say how to get it too sweet?
I've had much sweeter.
I'll tell you, I did a blind taste test. I had somebody pour me 6 different Oktoberfests.
Yeah.
And I won't mention anybody's names because they were all good.
Look at you, Sam Adams.
Yeah.
Actually, Sam Adams was not in there.
Punk bitches.
I'm just picking on the big guy.
But I picked ours, and I thought it was somebody. I thought it was Justin's beer.
Okay.
I thought I was picking Justin's beer because I'm like,
God, you'd never get his head out the door if it was his.
I can hear the thudding right now.
and actually, I picked his second over some of the national brands and a couple locals. But I was like, I was really shocked that I picked ours as being the best because the one that I thought was ours, I picked like third.
Okay.
And I don't ever want to say that we make the best beer. I think we make good beer.
I can agree with that.
And I think it may be a little better than good. I think it's great. I think we make great beer. But there's a lot of people in Pittsburgh that make great beer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But when I did this blind taste test and I picked ours first, I was like, holy shit. I really thought ours was the one that I picked third. And I'm not going to tell you who I picked the third, but Justin's was second. And maybe it's not totally Justin's. It's probably Ian Staub's recipe. So I don't want to take that from Ian because I thought theirs was very good. I think it's a little bit sweeter than ours. But I think ours stacks up against anybody's.
I can agree with that.
I agree.
And I'll stack any of our beers up against anybody.
And I really, really, just a hope of mine that Dan has a really good Fest beer recipe too.
Yes.
It comes out eventually. Because as much as I like Marzen, I like the German Fest beer just a little bit more.
But you know what I love the most is watching you walk into battle. Usually it's against me, but now we have a guest
Why do you got to pit me against my friends?
because I want to see you suffer.
We're not friends anymore. You got the hat turned backwards. I'm rolling the sleeves up.
So,
Matt, you about to play teacher here?
yeah, I wore the sweater
game
for a
show
reason.
host.
So
Don't grab him by his bitch bun.
that's right. We are into the full-on Halloween showdown, and it's Adam versus Nacho. And since Mr. Simmons, a.k.a. Bobby Nacho, has resurrected Full Pint, it's only right that this showdown be on zombie trivia. Ladies and gentlemen, ghosts and ghouls of all ages, but definitely 21 years and over, grab your Night of the Living Stout, Dawn of the Living Stout, and your Steinmeister Lager
Rolling Morrison. Oh, no. Nachos were drinking night.
so you can prepare yourself for the
Clouds of
terror.
I got my Morrison.
So these two combatants are going to enter into the Jojitorium arena. I'm going to fire off some questions to them, and they are going to play for points. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins. So right now, not only is it the Jojitorium versus Mr. Nacho, it is Bash Brew versus Full Pint.
Man.
Bragging rights
Oh,
on
boy.
the
All
line.
the pressure's on me.
So I'll let you guys decide who gets to go first.
I think Adam should go first. He's the host.
Absolutely not. The
Let
guest,
the host go first.
Guest goes first.
Let the host go first.
Guest goes first.
Oh, damn.
So,
7.
Mr. Nacho. I will ask you a multiple choice question. I'll read the question and then read you the answers, and then you may take a pick. And just know, too, that there is a bonus question at the end.
Bonus.
If you answer the question wrong, your opponent has the ability to steal. Everyone cool?
Ready. Let's do this.
For all the listeners, Mr. Nacho has flipped Adam Bashland the bird.
Zombie shit.
Mr. Nacho, who is the lead special effects artist on The Walking Dead? Tom Savini, Howard Berger, Greg Nicotero, or Stephen Yeun?
I have never watched The Walking Dead. So, with that said, anybody that's named Burger is my friend. So I'm going with Burger.
Adam, who is the lead special effects artist on The Walking Dead? Remaining answers are
I
Savini,
don't need
Nicotero,
I
Yeun.
don't need it. Nicotero.
Nicotero is correct.
At least he was in the seasons I watched.
He was.
Because
And
that shit got old quick.
Mr. Nicotero actually, since the time of this podcast, has directed 33 episodes of The Walking
wow.
Dead, and he has been the feature special effects artist across all the seasons. And for a bonus question, first crack, Mr. Nacho, where is Greg Nicotero from? What is his hometown?
Saskatoon.
Adam.
I'm going to look like an a-hole if it's here and I don't say here. I'm going to say Columbus, Ohio.
Greg Nicotero is from Pittsburgh.
Damn it, I thought so.
And he studied under the
Oh,
legendary
Savini. I knew he studied.
Romero and Tom
Yeah, I knew he
Savini.
was with Savini. I didn't know he was from here, though.
Can I
Adam.
just tell you that I've never watched a zombie movie ever? No type of zombie movie, no type of TV shows. I've never watched anything with zombies.
Well, this will get good then. So, Adam, number 2. In Zombieland, the main actors are named after their hometowns. What is Emma Stone's name? A, Tallahassee, Wichita, Columbus, or Little Rock?
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
Can you give me those again?
Tallahassee, Wichita, Columbus, Little Rock.
Wichita.
Correct.
You sure she's not from Beaver?
She from Beaver Falls, bro. 7th Ave. Mr. Nacho, for a bonus point, what number does Woody Harrelson paint on the side of each car he drives? Now, remember, for a hint, since you've never watched zombie movies, it is the number of a very famous driver, NASCAR driver.
Would have to be 3.
The great number 3, the
Dale
Intimidator.
I did know it then. I wasn't sure if I knew that answer or not.
Ah!
Mr. Nacho, what was the first feature-length zombie film? Voodoo Island, White Zombie, The Earth Dies Screaming, The Devil's Daughter.
What was the second one?
White Zombie.
White Zombie.
That is correct.
Whoa! Hoo, 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 hoo! Everyone can pull one out of their ass once in a while.
Adam Bashline, as a bonus
That
question,
was my guess.
what year was White Zombie released?
1962.
No.
For a steal,
1972.
1932.
Damn it!
Whoa! I was gonna go 1940s. I was like, that. I don't even know if they had movies.
It shortly followed Nosferatu. Very, very shortly
That makes
thereafter.
sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Adam, I believe you're up. Finish this White Zombie lyric. 5, yeah, wow. The demon warp, blank, in 1965, 5. On a nosedive, makes the devil cry, coming alive, I'm fucking John 5.
It's coming alive.
That is correct.
I do like option letter D though.
So, Mr. Nacho, for a bonus point, what year did Thunder Kiss 65 debut?
1965.
1992.
Oh, I wanted a shot at that.
No, it's a bonus point. You got the point.
That's okay because I have another bonus.
I think I would.
question
I
for
think
you.
I would have said 93 anyway. But.
True or false? The man who became Buckethead actually featured on the remake of Thunder Kiss 65.
Is it true or false?
True or false? For a bonus point.
True.
False.
Yeah. It's a good question then.
Thank
it's
you.
really random.
So, Adam, it's no, it's Mr. Nacho. It's on to Mr. Nacho.
It's on. Yeah, it's on him.
Mr. Nacho, in Shaun of the Dead, what was the name of the pub that they were always planning to run to in order to, quote unquote, let this all blow
I
over?
don't even need the multiple choice on this.
The Claddagh, the Manchester Lane, the Crown, the Winchester.
I was looking at Adam to see if he would give it away, and he didn't.
Poker face. The Claddagh, the Manchester Lane, the Crown, the Winchester.
It's because I just feel bad for you. This game's not fair anymore.
The Winchester.
That is correct. Adam, for a bonus point. Sean
The Winchester.
No. Well, actually, can you tell me where the Crown's from? Because it's also from one of their movies. Not for a bonus point, just see if you know it.
Hot Fuzz.
Correct.
Hey.
But for the bonus point, Sean's stepdad, Philip, has a car he loves dearly. What is the brand of that car?
Philip was such a little dipshit. I bet you it was a Fiat.
For the Steel,
Oh,
what brand
wait,
of car?
I didn't get the Steel Thunder Kiss. Never mind. It's your game. It's not my game. You're the teacher.
You made fun of my fucking elbow pads. Fuck off. Nacho. Sean's stepdad, Philip, has a car he loves dearly. What is the brand of that car?
If elbow pads were a car, it'd be a Saturn.
A Jaguar.
Damn it.
Ooh, it was a nice car, huh?
Yeah, it was a Jag.
He was kind of a douche. That makes sense.
We're going to move into a little bit of this or that.
Are you going to like a soft, like freeze tag version of roller derby after this with those elbow pads or what?
Hey, you won't roll with me, though. You scared. You scare these elbow pads.
I'll throw bows.
Are they padded like mine? Don't think so.
bows.
So we're going into...
Pointy as hell.
Super pointy. We're going to go into a game of this or that. So I'm going to give you 2 zombie movies, and you got to tell me which one has a higher lifetime gross in the box office and post-release. That means DVD sales, and it's across the world. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I believe, who are we on to here? Adam? Is it you first?
Yeah, he got the Winchester.
Okay, yeah, so it's on you. Adam, the 2 movies that you're pitting against each other are Night of the Creeps and Dead Alive. Who had the highest lifetime gross?
Easy.
I would have to say Dead Alive.
Wrong.
Wow.
Ooh, I'd have been wrong.
I just
too.
went with the one I saw.
Nacho. The Evil Dead versus Reanimator.
Evil Dead.
That is correct.
I would hope so. I mean, I like Reanimator.
I know the video game. I never played it, but I've heard of the video game and I've seen it. So.
The Evil Dead came in at 2.4 million, while the Reanimator came in at 2 million flat.
Wow.
That's not that high. It's not as high as I expected.
Adam, Resident Evil Apocalypse versus Resident Evil Afterlife.
Ooh, you're setting me up in this round.
Pressure.
Going with the one I saw in the theaters, which was Apocalypse.
That is wrong.
Damn it.
Wrong. I knew it.
Nacho, Hotel Transylvania versus Zombieland.
I'm going to say Zombieland.
That is incorrect.
Damn it. Fucking Woody Harrelson.
Stupid kids.
I knew it was Woody Harrelson, too.
Adam, the last one in this round.
We're doing really well.
Death Becomes Her versus Pet Sematary.
I
Come
can't,
on.
I can't pick against, but was Pet Cemetery even in theaters?
It was.
We're talking about the OG, not the remake.
OG.
I have to go with it. It's probably not right. Pet Cemetery.
That is incorrect.
Yeah, that's
Death
right.
Becomes Her came in
You're
at
wrong.
58 million, while Pet Sematary came in at 57
You
million.
lost.
Oh, it was close.
Very close.
You lost to a nobody.
I fucking love it.
Almost a beer out the nose moment there.
So, update on the scores right now. Bobby Nacho is winning
Kicking your ass.
4-3.
Yeah, 4-3.
I don't know how that's possible.
This final question
I don't either.
is worth 3 points.
Oh.
This is up for all the marbles. So, last
You get my
question.
marbles.
Closest without going over wins. World War Z is the highest lifetime grossing zombie movie of all time. This hellaciously fast-paced zombie flick eats the brains right out of the skulls of Warm Bodies, Resident Evil, Dawn of the Dead, and Creepshow. How many bones did this cinematic graveyard stack up? And I believe since Mr. Nacho's in the lead, I will give him first choice.
Can I defer?
You cannot. Let me say this. Don't stick in the thousands. It is in the millions.
Obviously it's in. And you know, I have to say, I thought I never saw a zombie movie, but I did see World War Z.
Okay.
Yeah, you and many others.
Yeah.
Old Brad Pitt got a lot of people in the seats.
He certainly did.
I'm going to throw out the number 7 because I randomly said 7 before, so we'll say 7 million.
7 million? Okay. Adam?
Really low.
Is this Price is Right rules?
Price is Right
Yeah, you
rules.
gotta
Oh,
yeah.
so I could just say 8 and be a real.
You can be a real douchebag about it, but
Yeah.
you could actually
But be
take
a man and
I'll
come
take
up with
I'll take a really, really, really safe risk and say 50.
50 million?
Yep.
It's probably like
Because
15.
I'm pretty.
and I
I think it was over 100.
it's probably like 15.
I think it was like 120 to be.
I don't think it was that high. I think it was.
World War Z brought home a lifetime gross of $202,000,000.
Shit.
$359,711.
I could have went with my 120 guess. That'd have been okay.
Adam,
I didn't want to overshoot by like a 1,000.
your final answer
You win.
takes out Bobby Nacho by 1 point.
That's
You
all right.
win.
By 1 point for somebody who didn't know shit about zombies.
I might have took out Bobby Nacho, but I didn't shoot him in the head, so he's coming back as a zombie.
Double tap. Those are the rules. Double tap.
And now you owe me a beer.
Yes. Okay, that's a deal.
So thank you guys for playing with me. I love running games. And it wasn't like Squid Game, though, so you guys are all coming on the other side alive. So I appreciate that. So
Damn it. You mean I got to get up in the morning?
we all do, unfortunately.
Shit.
But before we all decide to return to our beds for the night, Mr. Nacho, I have to let you have your chance here to let everyone know where can they find you on Full Pint. What can they search out to find you? What's all your social handles?
So I'm not the social media person, but we are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We are on Twitter. We're on all of them. We are not on Snap. I almost said Snapface. I know it's not Snapface.
Snapchat?
I always tease my kids. It's Snapface. It's Snapchat.
Snapchat, yeah.
And we're not on
TikTok.
TikTok.
Okay.
Okay.
I can only
I'm
imagine.
sorry we're not there. We're on the old people version of Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. Fullpint.beer because that's what we make is beer. You can find us on all of those. Some of them might be Full Pint Pittsburgh, but we're on all those. I would just go to our website. You can find wherever we sell our beer from our website. We're in 60 plus different distributors. We're going to bars and restaurants. Full Pint should be everywhere that you think it should be. And if it's not where you think it should be, let us know. Because we want it to be everywhere that you want it to be. We want to be Pittsburgh's brewery. We want to be what you want us to be. We want to brew what you want us to brew. Tell us.
Yeah.
And then the tap room in Wexford/Wyandotte come January.
We're hoping January, December, January. We're hoping that tap room's open, but you can still stop by the Outpost and get some beers to go.
I already timed it out. It's exactly 25 minutes from my house. It's just good.
So again, if you want to find what's going on with the Full Pint, you search them out on all social media. It's Full Pint Beer on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Again, they're not on Snapchat, and there's no fucking way they're on TikTok.
No snap face.
No snap face.
No snap talk.
No snap talk. Adam, here in our brewery, what's on tap and where can you find us?
Zippy is on tap right now. Everything we got on right now is going first to Drink the Cookie Table on November 6th. Completely sold out, both sessions. Come. If you already got tickets.
Yeah.
Stop by our table. That's all I can say to you. I can't push it. I can't push it any more than that because it done sold out. I will say, though, this Saturday, stout season is starting, and so are the winter beers. We're going to do our latest version of Dark Roots on Saturday. Brew that up. Hopefully get it ready for the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view. So we have something to drink on down here. And that's about it right now. Cookie Table will be the wrap-up of our festival season, though. So just keep posted to our social medias for what we're brewing up this winter and come get some. I mean, we're definitely going to have some big stouts, some desserty stuff around Christmas, and some
always good stuff.
Some really good stuff around Christmas is coming this year.
Yeah. If you want to find what's going on with Adam down here in the Brew Lab, all you have to do is follow him at @bash_brew on all social media. It's Facebook, Instagram, and I keep pushing him to get a Twitter. Don't forget to follow him on Untapped.
I have a Twitter. I just stalk you on it. I don't post on it.
I'm going to push him to get a Twitter. And if you want to follow what's going on with First Full Pint, you want to search about @Full Pint Beer on all social media. What's up?
I'd like to add that we got a oatmeal stout that's coming.
Ooh,
in the next maybe 2 weeks.
An
oatmeal stout is it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's coming.
And then Festivus will be around
Festivus is in the
around
works.
The holiday season, right?
I'm doing a couple of test batches of that, so it's coming. And then I hope that the Four Horsemen come back
whenever you need me there.
Between now and the end of the year,
you got one.
I've got three. I've got three others. So.
I mean, but you got me in whenever. You just pick the date. I'll make it available.
We got to do a test batch, but we're going to do something really stupid for the Four Horsemen, and I hope to have it out by Christmas.
And if you liked what you heard here in the Jojitorium, please follow us at DWTB on all social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And from here in the Jojitorium, for a spooky, ooky Halloween with the boys and Full Pint, wherever you are listening to this, cheers.
Cheers. Buster Rhymes Kung Fu.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick. I'm the host of Nikolai's Kitchen, and I'm also the host of the annual Live Stream for the Cure. Live Stream for the Cure is a charity event where we raise money with content creators and podcast partners from around the world for the Cancer Research Institute, a wonderful nonprofit researching cancer immunotherapy, training the body's immune system to fight all forms of cancer. This is a mission and a future that I truly believe in. And myself and my team worked tirelessly over the past 5 years to raise over $50,000 for this cause. This year, we're aiming for our biggest single goal to date of $20,000, and we cannot do it without your help. Please join us for the event May 19th through the 21st, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern, for 45 hours of content from people all over the world. Together, we can bring hope for a future immune to cancer. The more eyes we reach, the more dollars we raise. Please help us in making this goal a reality. Together, we can make a difference.